All right, guys. Am I live? Okay, I'm live. How's it going? Good to see all you out there, CSE drivers, Watchmen, Renee, Austin, all of you guys, MTM, Ralph, Sevens, Patterns, 77. Everybody hit that like button, thumbs it up, share it on your social media. Get it out there. I just spread this to the four winds. It's a late night. Hang out, breaking news, updates with BP News, Robert. I am your host. And I've got the Macho Man stuck in my head because I can't get it out of my mind. Trump just loves that dance, don't he? I don't know why. I just saw this post and I'm just thinking, gosh, Trump. All the stuff coming out now is just an absolute circus. How many of you guys have been watching what's been happening? Are any of you out there paying attention? I mean, this is kind of like entertainment as well. I mean, it's not only just horrific. It's not only just frightening in the sense of if you were only bound to this world's, realm and you didn't have no hope for a better future, you would be terrified. But it's also entertaining at the same time. And if you're one of those who chooses to be distracted with inane and, pointless, futile entertainment, then I guess you would be having a great time. Or if you're one to just use it as a way of escape and be on some acid trip, because it could be a terrible acid trip as well. This is like an acid trip. Now, I never took acid, but I'm sure this would be the definition of what an acid trip is like. Just trust the plan. Yes, I will be talking about the Economist magazine cover. Definitely. It is an interesting cover there because it is a message subliminally, dark sentences in a certain sense for the elites. That's kind of their magazine, and they send out their codes through their pictographic prophecies, if you will, dark sayings and occult imagery in anticipation for what they expect to come. And usually those are pretty accurate. The Economist magazine cover. If you haven't done your research on that, you might want to be really paying attention to what we say on that one. So we're going to get into the news. Deep dive. Are you ready? It's late. It's a late night. I hope you got your coffee. I hope you're not half asleep. But if you're not, but if you are, then it's okay, because I'm kind of half asleep too. But hey, I'm drinking a little bit of coffee here, so I think I'm going to be able to do it. But if you are half asleep, just turn it off, go to sleep, or leave it on. You can listen to me in your subconscious while you're sleeping. And then you'll wake up in the morning and it'll all make sense. Maybe you'll have a dream and it'll tell you everything about what I'm saying. I don't know if you ever MK communication. This is like subliminal information. I do that with the scriptures sometimes. I'll sit back or listen to a sermon when I'm asleep, and I dream about it, or I listen and something gets, picked up in my subconscious, and it's all good. But yes, we're living in a spiritual world. Definitely, Renee. Yes, it's a spiritual world. And if you don't know about the spirit world, you might want to tap into it one day, because who knows, you might be there sooner than you think. And it may not be exactly what you thought once you get there. So you might want to make sure that you have accurate information. It's called the truth. And who has the truth? We have the truth, because we understand what the book teaches. And this is why, my friends, we're establishing a new branded YouTube channel that has about, 55,000 subscribers. And we're going to be doing a church on that channel. It's going to be the church channel. But we are putting together a church too, by the way. So we're going to have this news channel still. Don't worry. We're still here. But the church channel, it's one of our channels we got back from the dead. It was resurrected from YouTube's, censorship holocaust when they went out on a rampage, taking out channels left and right in the millions. They did that once in 2017 or during 2017 midterm right after Trump's election. And then they did it again during COVID because there was a lot of no speak. You couldn't say certain words. If you said certain words, man, you're banned. You're dangerous. You're going to stop so many people from taking the kill shots. We didn't want to do that. You didn't want to be one of those influencers that was putting fear in everybody, because what better way to stop fear than to just go headlong into the death trap? Yeah, it's church chat. Yeah, that's it, CS drivers. Church chat. The channel's name, I can't release it yet. Supernova, I will here real soon. I will release the name. Okay, so what I'm doing, and I'm just going to give you a real quick rundown on what I'm doing with that before I get into the news. So just stay tuned. The news is coming. There's a lot of news. Yeah, they're talking about The Economist too, just right when I'm going to do it. That's so funny. I'm about to talk about that too. But anyway, here's the lowdown on what we're doing. So we're getting an app. I mean, this is a really good app. This has the ability to do push notifications. It's connected to our website, and we're looking to get an in-bed live stream because we have a feeling, just a feeling, but I think it's going to turn into a reality here real soon, that censorship is once again going to rear its ugly head. They're not only chronicling everything that we're saying and doing online through the AI, and if you don't know about that, every little thing that you do is being chronicled, whether it's online or offline. You got a smart appliance, you got a smart TV, you got a smart car. Everybody's got a smart car if it's after 2018, 19, 20, they're putting all kinds of stuff in them now. But all the way up now, the brand new cars are basically just tattletale cars, and they'll relay all your information to the insurance company. Oh, he drove too fast on this day. He stepped on the brakes too hard. He was going over the speed limit. Raises interest rate. Raises insurance rates because he's not a good driver. And they're probably listening to everything you're saying and even watching you too. Not to mention watching you through your car. Not to mention your cell phones and your tablets, your smart TVs, your smart refrigerators, your thermostats. I had an experience where our thermostat all of a sudden connected to our internet, and I never even gave it the password. I don't know how it did it, but it was connected to our internet. You got to kind of wonder with that, huh? Like, how in the world did that happen? I still don't get how that happens. But everything is going to be tattling on you. So, yeah, we're developing our third, kind of. Hopefully it's going to be a little more insulated when all this stuff does hit the fan, because as soon as war breaks out, as soon as the economy crashes, as soon as critical, and I don't even know, like with all the stuff that, by the way, the site that I'm using is not connected to Cloudflare, so it's not going to go down. That Cloudflare outage the other day, that was a hack. And I'm going to tell you what, that's a national security concern. They didn't want to tell the public because they were too afraid that everybody's going to freak out. But I'm going to tell you what, they can do it at will, and they will. When it's all going to go down, it's going to hit the fan, everything's going to shut off. You know what? Are you going to be able to get your Bitcoin out of your account? You're going to be able to transfer that money when everything starts falling apart? No, because Cloudflare and all the other internet is going to go down. I mean, 20% of the internet, I guess, was down because of this, and it was a hack. They're probably saying don't tell the public because they don't want everybody to freak out. But yeah, Trump signed the bill, supposedly. Yep, he wanted it all along. It was a hoax, but now it's not. Now it's a political headhunt. This is all part of the plan. This 4D chess. He can go out on Manhattan in the middle of the day and shoot somebody, and everybody would still love him and believe that he was right. He even said that in his own words. So yeah, he not in the Epstein files, nothing bad, even though his name was mentioned 1,600 times, and that's just in the files that were already, gone through, not all the other files. They're releasing more, I'm sure. But hey, a lot of that doesn't have to come out. You know why? Because as long as there's an investigation going on that's related to anybody at certain points in those files that have bad marks, and let's just say Trump is somehow involved in that investigation, everything is redacted. They can withhold whatever they want, especially for national security reasons. So if there is anything in there, now we're getting a lot of other stuff that shows that Trump was complicit in many ways. So if you're one of those people that are blind and don't read, well, that's on you. But everything else we're telling you about Trump is true, and that has nothing to do with those files, just in terms of just who he is and what he's done and his history and his present and his past and his future. We also know about where Trump's future is too. You want to know why? Because we know how to read prophecy, and we understand those dark sayings that it says that person would understand, because we see into the dark. And that's not just we, but it's the Most High. And this is what prophecy does. It gives you a light under your path. It gives you a vision of the future. So if you do have, if you're a believer and you have the light of Christ, you should be able to see things, as the Bible says, that are to come. And it's very clear. Any child of God has that ability. Okay? Any child of God. This is not a special privilege to prophets. It's the privilege of anyone who is in relationship with the God of heaven through the Son, who has reconciled us back to himself. And I call out Trump because he's trying to stop Jesus from coming back. He said it in his own words. Right on my channel, I already got that video up that's going viral that says, and it's right here if you want to go see it. He basically said he's going to stop the end times from taking place in the Middle East. He's not going to allow it. But you know, this coalition that they're building right now, this is all prophetic, guys. The things that he just did yesterday with Mohammed bin Salman and the covenant. They call it a covenant. Oh, a covenant with many. Confirming the covenant with many? Is that what they're doing? Or are they breaking the covenant with many? Are we halfway through the tribulation? Are we about to go into the bad stuff? Or is this just the beginning? Or is it the end of the beginning? What has that song go? Is this the beginning, or is it just the end, or something like that? I can't remember. You know what song I'm talking about. But are we in the middle of the trib, or are we just beginning? Because this is the covenant with many in Daniel chapter 9. I think it's verse 27. What's Trump doing? He's fulfilling so many passages. It's making my head spin. And for anybody that doesn't know prophecy, you won't get it because you're not either aware of that, or maybe the interpretation is one of those old Hal Lindsey interpretations that is completely in error in everything that he predicted. Now, I know that was a big fad back in the 70s because everybody was caught up into prophecy, but the reality of what prophecy really is defining as in this late hour is much different than all these prophecy teachers as of old. And when I say contemporary old, because prophecy didn't become a fad until about the late 60s, early 70s. And you had Chuck Smith, and you had, that Jack Van Impe and people like that getting into it. And everybody and their brother was talking about some of the prophecies of the future. But now that we're close, and now that all this technology has come out, everything has gotten real defined, things are becoming a lot more focused. And we're starting to see all the details now of the latter day unfold. And it does talk about the man of sin being revealed, and that is the true apocalypse. When the apocalypse means the revealing, if you look at the original language, it means the revealing. And 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, I think it's verse 3 or something in there, 3 or 4. Am I right on that? 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. It talks about this revealing. It also talks about the great falling away that will take place prior to the revealing of that man of sin, or that lawless one. And by the way, he has no regard for the law. In fact, he is the law. He makes the law. He changes the law. He is a person that is very arrogant and has the ability to manipulate and flatter. And he uses money and power and the god of forces, which basically is military. And I would say that this person is going to be hailed as some kind of genius because he's marshaling a global plan of peace. And he even portrays it as an eternal peace. Who's been talking about eternal peace? Oh yeah, that's right, Trump. And now they're saying that this peace plan that they're initiating, that the UN has agreed upon, is not only the greatest thing that's ever happened on planet Earth, once again, another great thing that's never happened in the history of the world, but it's going to be used as a pattern for peace for the whole world. He said it's going to be used as a pattern, not just for Palestine and Israel, but for the whole planet. Hello? Does that not sound like Antichrist to you? But no, we were crazy. But now everybody's like, you know what? Maybe you're right, Robert. The same thing they did during COVID. You're crazy. You're saying that masks are going to be worth $10 and $15. You're nuts, man. You're stupid. Oh, my gosh. I'm going to tell everybody how stupid you are. And I was like, whatever. You'll see. Oh, now you're saying that food's going to disappear off the shelves? Oh, my gosh. Again, fearmonger. Hello. Robert the fearmonger. When we started talking about Trump and what he was going to do in 2020, I started really kind of unveiling my thoughts about Trump the last 3 or 4 years, but about 3 years. People were like, whatever, we're not going to follow you. You're stupid. You don't know what you're talking about. Robert, that's not even close to prophecy. He doesn't fulfill prophecy. Everything ticks off. I'm going to tell you what, everything. Not only the fact that he's an Assyrian, just like the Bible, just like many scholars will say, he comes from Assyria. Well, what is Assyria? Oh, well, they migrated to in and around Germany. Did you know that? And that's historic. That's a historic fact. So it's going to be somewhere around Germany that this person would come from. And what's his background, his ethnic background? Tell me who he is. Not to mention all these weird, strange signs that follow Trump and his and I say Obama had some of the similar things going on when he came to power, but Obama didn't fit the bill. You know, people are like, he's got to be gay. No, he just doesn't regard women. What does that mean? He doesn't regard women. He doesn't esteem them. He doesn't treat them like equal partners in a relationship that God blesses, right? He doesn't esteem them and hold them in high regard. He thinks of them as less, as objects. And or who knows, maybe he's bisexual for all we know, because there's a lot of weird stuff coming out about Trump in those emails. And I won't even get into all that. I did see Colbert talk about it yesterday, I think it was. Stephen Colbert. Now, I was talking about Colbert, and a lot of people don't like Colbert, and I understand, because they're, a lot of my audience is Christian, and they have real high moral standards, and obviously that's a good thing, unless of course you're self-righteous. But you don't want to be self-righteously above, looking down your nose at people when you've got all kinds of sins in your own backyard. So just be humble. And but anyway, the world needs people that can speak to them. But anyway, getting back to Stephen Colbert, he's a very intelligent man. He's very he can be very funny. I think he's got some nice little quips, but he can actually be crude. So you got to be careful with that. It is the world mindset, but he has a background as a. I heard it in his speech tonight, or one of his talks tonight. He has a background. Trump, another one of these stupid Trump posts. Why does ABC News, fake news, keep Jimmy Kimmel a man? He's like crying that Jimmy Kimmel is still on late night. This is the president of the United States. You know how petty he gets. I just can't understand Trump whining about little things all day. It just makes him look so bad. I mean, he's doing a lot of powerful things that people are following for some reason, but he looks so stupid sometimes. I mean, just like this. Listen to this post. It just popped up. Why does ABC fake news keep Jimmy Kimmel, a man with no talent, capitals, and very poor television ratings? This is like so petty and just so below a president. Why did he keep him on the air? Why do the TV syndicates put up with it? Also, totally biased coverage. Get the bomb off the air. Like, who does Trump think he is? A dictator? Yeah, he does. And I'm going to tell you what, I believe that even though he clearly, to us, to those who understand what's really going on, we see him for who he is. And obviously, even people like Stephen Colbert, who are flaming liberals. Now, Stephen Colbert, I was going to just tell you really quick, he's a Catholic, and he used to be a Sunday school Bible teacher. Can you believe that? I always knew Colbert had a little something about him that seemed like he's had some kind of background and has a little bit of faith or something. I don't know what it is about him. He's a little more clean in the way he comes across. Maybe it's his intellect. I don't know what it is. It's just something about him, even though he still is crude. I'll give you that. He's crude, and he has very off-colored jokes. But a lot of stuff that he says is pretty on the up and up. Like it's intellectual. It's somewhat moral. I think he does have a moral code, okay, because he obviously taught the Bible, and or at least he was a Sunday school teacher. But Jimmy Kimmel, I don't even watch Jimmy Kimmel. I mean, I don't watch any of them really. But sometimes now that since all this Trump stuff is going on, I was kind of tuning in to see like what are they saying. I'm kind of curious. It's like a barometer. I have to figure out what's going on in the liberal world, and so Colbert is the only one I can kind of stand because he's the only one that I think makes the most. He kind of represents to me all the other ones, So, anyways, so Trump is now decrying why Jimmy Kimmel is still on the air just now. This has just popped out on Telegram, so I'm sure it's all over Truth Social as well. Trump again boasting about one of the best opening 10 months for a president in U.S. history. Thank you. Always boasting. It's just like everything he says, he boasts. It's just a continual boast. But people love it because I don't know. It's like they want to believe. They're trusting the plan. Things are changing. Things are happening. Like he's got something going on there. There's you don't got to like him. Just all the benefits, right? Maybe it's monetary. I really don't think the system is going to hold up too much longer, though. I mean, you're seeing a lot of trouble in indicators like Bitcoin, and the stock market did take a pretty big dive. Gold and silver keep going up. You got to kind of wonder what's going on with that Bitcoin. In fact, I'm going to look really quick and see what the price is here. It did kind of go back up a little bit. It's at 92, but it was down below 90. It was in the 80s, which is a huge, huge pump and dump. And what I think is going to happen is they're wanting a bunch of people to jump in right now, back in, because they think that it's at the lows. And here's what I think is going to happen. Now, I might be wrong, but this is what I think they're going to do. Because we're getting closer to a lot of the financial reset and all that chaos that's going to break out with all these wars, I think they might do one last pump and dump. Who knows? But it could be that they get people to come in right now and put a bunch of money in, and when it starts going up, they're going to dump it one more time. And I'm talking about the big money. There's like 60% of all the holdings of Bitcoin, they said, are from those that have been in it for a long time, and they all kind of make decisions that are kind of similar at similar points. And a lot of the late time investors, they always get taken I was really looking into this, and I thought it was pretty interesting. But what I think could happen, this is my thought, is that they're going to let it kind of go up a little bit where people think this is the low. They think they're going to make a bunch of money, so they're going to sucker people in that have lots of money, like millions of dollars. Like, just dump. Let's just put a whole bunch of money in this because look, we're really low right now. This is the time to buy the dip, right? I always say, and I felt like the Lord gave me that word not too long ago. Don't buy the dip on a sinking ship, man. This thing is going to sink. You buy the dip, and it's going to continue to sink, and you think it's going to go back up, and it ain't. And I think what's going to happen is they're going to suck people in with a little bit of increase here, and it might go up, start going back up, And that's when everybody's going to throw their money in. And then it's going to take another dump. It might go up a little bit, but then it's going to fall again, and it's going to go down a lot farther. And they're just going to keep washing people, rinse, wash, and repeat. If there is a repeat, because they're saying Bitcoin is going to be the foundation of our new economy. And this is Trump's statements when he first came in, that it's going to repay our debt, right? It's going to repay our national debt overnight, because the whole world is going to have to somehow be attached and be subject to this Bitcoin reserve that the U.S. government somehow has a huge stake in. How did they get the huge stake? Well, I thought Bitcoin was encrypted and it was decentralized, but somehow the U.S. government was able to confiscate, $300 billion in Bitcoin? How did they do that? From the criminals, quote unquote? Okay, well, I don't know how they did it, but they did it, supposedly. Or are they a part of this Satoshi operation that nobody knows who it is that started Bitcoin? And it's really a long-term plan. Who knows? What really is Bitcoin, right? Well, I had a friend, I don't know if he's here, but he when this Cloudflare thing went down, they tried to get onto Coinbase. Coinbase is one of the servers, or I guess, for Bitcoin. Guess what? You couldn't get in there. You couldn't sell off. You couldn't buy. You couldn't do anything, right? Because isn't that what's going to probably happen? Is all the servers are going to go down, and at a certain point, you can't do what you got to do, and then everything falls. Well, it's kind of like what they call a bank holiday, right? During the weekend, they shut it down on a Friday. Everything falls. You can't do anything about it because nothing's open. Stocks are closed, but everything just falls through the floor. By the time you get there back on Monday, you lost all your money. Or a bank bail-in, or whatever they call it. They're going to take all your money out of your account. You're going to come back and there's not going to be nothing in there. That's what they did to those people. I think it was in Spain or something. They did that bank bail-in thing a while back. But hey, I'm not an economist, but I do get a pretty good feel for what's going on. Grab a dip and take a trip. Let's say resistance is at 98. No. Piscatoria. Resistance is futile. Resistance is futile. Resistance is futile. All the AI bots are telling you resistance is futile. I'm responding to one of the people in there. Bitcoin is at 92,875 support and 87,800 resistance. Resistance is 98,000. Okay. I think I get it. Crypto conspiracy. I call it a crypto conspiracy. Coinbase is a centralized exchange. The miners run the network. That's the decentralization. Okay. I'm just reading some of your guys' comments there because I know you guys are all so smart. Yeah, Darth Vader said that. It's useless to resist. I am your father. No! Trump's like, I am you. He said, this is what Trump says to MAGA. I am your father. And they're like, no! We thought you were a good daddy. We were calling you daddy this whole time. You turned out to be the devil. They're going to be like, you're going to just hear MAGA's voice going down. This is why you come to BP News. All right, so you guys going to get into the news here? Let's get into some news, shall we? Are you guys ready for this? Let's see what we got here. Oh, Lord. My gosh. Am I ready to do this? So I'm going to unleash. Am I going to unleash on? Should I just keep it tame and not work myself up and just go to bed early, or should I just let it all fly like a rabbi? Bam, 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 bam. MTG just finally woke up. Hecka-lecka-heim, mecca-heiny ho. See, I'm pretty fly like a rabbi. All right, so let's see if I can get into this. Where am I at here? Yeah, I think Warren Buffett is doing opposite of what a lot of people are doing in the stocks. So that should put the fear of God in everybody. Warren Buffett's doing something completely different than what everybody else is thinking. And I would say you might want to listen to Warren. And don't listen to this guy. Where am I at here? Okay, where's my screen here? Shoot. Hold on. I'm stuck here. I'm stuck on the wrong screen here. What the heck happened here? All right, here we go. All right, let's go over to our Telegram page. Oh, by the way, so I want to tell you guys little updates. I don't think I got into that. So we're doing an app with, did I tell you? I think I did tell you then. We're going to be doing the push notifications. You guys want to be a part of this, right? Remember how we did push notifications? Or no, we didn't do push notifications. We did SMSs, direct messages. So we have the option to do this as well. I have 34,000 on my list of phone numbers. Listen. Okay, remember when we were getting 1 million views a day? Well, and I compiled that instant text messaging opt-in, I had 35,000. Okay, we had 400,000 or 500,000 subscribers at one point, but we were getting such large views, and we were telling people, go subscribe to our instant notification so that if you get censored, which we knew we were getting censored, you wouldn't lose touch with us. So everybody opted in and subscribed to my SMS list. So I still have that list. So I'm going to be rebooting that list because I know censorship is coming back, and I haven't done that because it takes money to do this. Okay, so I'm walking by faith on this. So if any of you guys out there want to help me out, I just redid the website. I just redid my website. I got a new website. Okay, this is our church app, but I'm going to still use Blazing Press and the blazingpress.com site. That's also a site we're using. And we're going to keep doing news there. We probably will, if we can get enough funding, we'll get somebody to start managing the Blazing Press site. We'll have to pay somebody to do it because I can't do everything. But the church site, and I'll let you guys know more about that here real soon, is going to be up and running. And that's going to also be with push notifications and an app. Okay, so you'll download an app, you'll get push notifications right directly to your phone. It's not like Mighty App. You know, some people were talking about Mighty App. No, this is different. And it's not set up like a social media site. This is more set up like an app. Okay, so it'll direct you to our live streams. We may even have an embedded live stream directly on the website. And I think that's kind of what we want to go toward because we know censorship is coming. But the SMS list, which is direct texting, and also our app will also let you know where we're at, what we're doing, and if we have to get a new channel because we get censored, you'll still be able to watch our live streams. And you won't lose touch with us because anytime you're just connected, it's kind of like being dependent on the government. When you have SNAP or, people are all caught up into this, welfare of the state. Well, when they shut you off, you're dead in the water. But if you know how to grow your own food and you have the ability to, you're independent of that system a little bit. I'm not saying that they can't hunt you down and kill you like Khashoggi if they wanted to, but then they might because it doesn't look all good the way things are going right now. And if you don't know who Khashoggi is, well, that's just kind of connected to MBS, Mohammed bin Salman, who was in the White House yesterday. Anyways, did you happen to see that interaction between Trump and the reporter that called him out about that killing? Trump's like, oh, don't worry. Things happen. Things happen. But don't embarrass our guest. Even though he's probably guilty as hell. Don't embarrass him. Because he's here going to spend a lot of money. You know, he's going to spend $1 trillion. So don't be calling him out that he's a murderer. So we need an app, okay? So we need an app. We need to get our website up and running. We're probably going to have some people come in and maybe do a little bit of help on you know, managing, what do they call it? I mean, there's a lot to do. And And I'm just kind of looking ahead, but the basic stuff just to launch everything, that's what I'm doing. That's why I wasn't on the last 2 days, because I've been kind of, you know, getting everything laid out and trying to, you know, I got meetings I got to get together with the software company to make sure that it's going to, you know, onboard me correctly. But the list, my list that I have a list. Yes, and some people wanted that list, but I would not give it up. They wanted to pay me for that list, but I would not give it up, because that list is all of you. How many of you guys out here in my chat right now, how many of you guys actually signed up to my SMS list? 35,000 of you out there that are still on that list are going to get a text one day here real soon. How many of you out there in here were on my list? I'm going to be checking that list here before Christmas. And I'm going to make sure you're either naughty or nice. You're going to be on the naughty side of the list or on the nice side of the list. But I'll still send you a text. Prism, you did. Scott, you did. Okay. Yep, it was a good list. And it still is a good list. I'm sure there's a lot of Trump supporters still on that list that are probably going to say, forget it. All right, so let's get into the news. We're just going to start. Well, should we start from the top of the? Let's just start from the top. Okay, I'm going to go through this really quick. I can't. I'm not going to linger on news articles. I'm just going to go through it, all the news for today. Okay, maybe I'll kind of go back from yesterday. Wife posts a lot. I post, and sometimes I don't see everything. I just kind of go through it while I'm with you, but this is all from just today, the 19th. Okay, so let's go back to yesterday, because I didn't do yesterday either. And let's just go through this really quick here too, really quickly. Things that we missed from yesterday. Okay. My goodness, so much stuff. Gosh, am I going to be able to do this? 10:30? There's so much stuff to talk about. All right, so let's just start right here. Okay, so Trump says, and by the way, if you want to watch any of these videos, you just come over to our Telegram page, subscribe to it, and you can scroll back and you can watch all the videos. Trump says, on the Abraham Accords, we had a very good talk. I think you have a very good feeling toward the Abraham Accords. He's talking to Mohammed bin Salman in his meeting yesterday, right? I don't know why this is black. But Mohammed bin Salman says, yes, definitely, Mr. President. We want peace for the Israelis. We want peace for the Palestinians. But there's a price that must be paid. Mohammed bin Salman says, and the agreement we are signing today in many areas in technology and AI. Remember, I told you Trump went to Saudi Arabia with all the tech giants. And by the way, he was having dinner with Mohammed bin Salman and his entourage, and the tech giants were there once again, and also Tiger Woods, for all people. Did you guys read that Tiger Woods was there? Tiger Woods was there as well? What the heck was he doing there? Or did he ever show up? I knew a day or so ago they said he was going to be there. But anyways, you got tech giants there. And what are they trying to do? They're trying to establish the control of technology through AI in the whole of the Middle East, using these states, these oil-rich states, to facilitate those controls as a hub, right? And Trump is the one brokering all this. But he's also doing it in the UK, into Europe through the UK, because they got the UK Stargate. You remember when Trump went to the UK? Well, he initiated Stargate there as well. And that's that whole program. And when you talk about Stargate, what are you talking about? I mean, that the whole imagery there is about going through a portal. You're going into a gate, a dimension, right? You're going through another dimension. So what is Trump doing? He's basically opening up the portals of hell. It's kind of like a technological Ouija board. You're playing with a ghost in the machine. The machine is basically just sending those messages through the technology. And you're like, wow, we're really smart, aren't we? Wow, we know what's going on because the technological Ouija board is telling us what we need to know. So Trump is saying, oh, you mean you're saying you're saying to me now 600 billion will be 1 trillion? Are you really saying that, Mohammed bin Salman? Really? Oh, I really love you now. Oh, well, let's hold hands. Let's hug. Oh, you're my best friend now. Oh, Lord. Don't worry about the reporter there saying that you killed somebody, you had somebody murdered, and then also you had them completely dismembered as well. We forgive you for that, and shame on you, fake news, for bringing it up once again. You know, dishonoring our guest like that. I bet you that reporter is no longer there. I'll bet you he's gone. Maybe he had an unfortunate accident. How do you get on the SMS list, Hit Gal? I haven't put it out yet. Well, you had to opt in on the old software, but I don't have any software. All I have is my list. I have a spreadsheet, you know, with all the numbers in it. So I can input it into my new software. So as soon as I get this all up and running, that's what I'm going to be doing. You can opt in at that time. So right now, don't worry about it. It's not up and running yet. We're just setting it on. We're getting it online right now. So that'll all be there for you. Don't worry. You won't lose us. Let's see. Israel carried out 3 airstrikes against the mosque inside of the refugee camp in Sidon and Lebanon. Now, this is really big news. A lot of people don't understand what this means, but it looks like, from just in a nutshell, that the Lebanese military and government is now turning on Israel because Israel is pushing the skirting. They're pushing the lines and the limits because the government of Lebanon said that they could do limited strikes if they stayed in a certain zone against Hezbollah, because Hezbollah really isn't the government. It's just kind of a small portion that is represented in their kind of government. You know how they have, liberals and conservatives and, they got different parties, right? And so that's kind of the way Hezbollah is. It's a small, limited influence, but still, it's represented, and they're allowing the Israelis to do certain things if they stay within their bounds. But Israel is not doing that now, and they're going into the refugee camps and bombing inside of areas that are not designated or allowed. Okay, so now the military and the Lebanese government are starting to feel like, wow, Israel's really pushing the limits here, and they're now saying that they don't care what we say, and they're going to just keep doing what they're doing. So this is turning into a possible regional war now. This could cross the line and go into what we call a regional war for Lebanon. Trump, when asked about Mohammed bin Salman's assassination and dismemberment of Jamal Khashoggi, the journalist says, "Mr. President, what do you think about the dismemberment and brutal murder of this journalist?" Because Khashoggi was a journalist, basically what happened was, if you don't know, he was lured into a embassy, the Saudi embassy, and I forget which country. I'm not sure if it was the UK. I can't remember which country it was. But once he got into the embassy, they captured, they got a hold of him and they killed him. And then they cut him all up and they tried to hide it, but they ended up getting caught. And they said that it was done by some very high level people in the diplomatic zone there. And they must have had orders from Muhammad himself, right? But it never was really followed up with our government. And I think at one point they were kind of criticizing him under Trump, because this happened, I think, under Trump's first administration. But anyways, Trump says he's done a phenomenal job. You're mentioning someone, Khashoggi, who was extremely controversial. A lot of people didn't like that gentleman. So basically Trump is saying they didn't like him, so it gave every reason for them to brutally murder him and dismember him? Is that what Trump is saying? Then he goes on to say, whether you like him or not, whether you like him or didn't like him, things happened, but MBS knew nothing about it. We can leave it at that. You don't have to embarrass our guest by asking a question like that. And right at that point, you could see MBS trying to pipe up to defend himself, like he wanted to say something, and then that's when they cut it. But anyways, I didn't get into that. But anyways, Trump spars with reporters over questions about Epstein, and Trump just looks guilty. I mean, like, he looks guilty and arrogant, and he also looks like he doesn't even really care, because he knows they're not going to get any investigations on him because he's the president, and he knows that he's going to skirt any kind of problem because they're going to cover everything up with investigations. If you have an investigation, like it said, it's going to be quashed, and nothing, and especially if it's national security type information, it's going to be withheld. So all the good stuff is probably going to be all redacted and withheld. Things happen, and then Trump says things happen. Yeah. So things happen when people die. That's what happens sometimes. You get on the bad side of a very powerful person. You might die. Elon Musk attends the White House dinner for Saudi Crown Prince and appears to be seated next to Pfizer CEO Albert Bourla. And I'm not sure exactly what that's all about. What does that mean? Is there some reason why this is a big news story? Honey, you posted this. I'm kind of curious. Anybody out there, can you tell me? By the way, Thanksgiving is coming up. You guys going to all have turkey for Thanksgiving? Turkey. Now that I'm thinking about Turkey, the country, I'm thinking about turkey for Thanksgiving. Trump, Saudi Crown Prince sit together for candlelit dinner at the White House with Silicon Valley tech executives in attendance. I wonder if they were holding hands. They do that in some of these Islamic countries. They hold hands. You ever see how some of the leaders will hold hands? I've seen it with Putin. I think Putin was holding hands with some Islamic leader, or maybe it was the Indian leaders. I don't know. There's some countries where they hold hands, You ever seen that? Kind of crazy. Trump looking pretty snazzy there with his suit and tie. He's announcing military security guarantees for Saudi Arabia, formally designated Saudi Arabia as a major non-NATO ally. So this is giving status like Israel status. They're not a NATO country. Wait a minute. Is Israel a NATO country? No, I don't think they are. But we give them the same. Excuse me. we afford them the same types of protection. Excuse me. I don't know what happened there. Excuse me. I must have sucked something down while I was breathing into my lung. Let's see. So I guess Qatar has that kind of designation. Israel has that designation. I think South Korea has that designation. I like that comment. He's like watching a flat tire. Oh, by the way, you know Trump loves McDonald's? They were saying something about him eating McDonald's again. Like, really? Serious? I mean, that's like the worst kind of food you can eat, man. What is this? Graham says that Trump pushed to move on anti-Russian sanctions. Wow, because you know that whole theater over there in yeah, I do. I agree. I agree with you on that anti-West sentiments. I believe that very, very much. But hey, let's get back to the Graham thing. So President Trump told Thune Sunday when we were playing golf, move the bill. Senator Graham, the hawkish GOP co-sponsor of the bipartisan Russian sanction bill. So he's telling them to go ahead with the bill and move it forward. So Trump may be signaling that he's going to become a lot more hawkish on Russia. False flags. That's what I think. And it's going to be false flags. That's what I think is incoming anyway. I think it's going to be hitting the fan on multiple levels. I'm just responding to somebody in the chat. The White House sent him a statement. As some people who are watching the archive, they're wondering, who am I talking to? I'm talking to somebody in the chat. The White House sent him a statement about 2 hours ago that they had signed off on the bill. The bill stipulates imposing 500% tariffs on imports from countries that purchase Russian oil, gas, uranium, and other products unless the Ukraine conflict is settled. Here's the catch. It's Graham who spent all of these years doing everything possible to prevent peace in Ukraine, draining its resources and tightening the country's dependence. Huh. Yep. Makes sense. All right. So then we've got... look at what Trump says. It's a special privilege. He always uses it. Special. It's very special. Very special. It's very special privilege to welcome His Royal Highness to Washington this year as we mark the 80th anniversary of the first meeting between a U.S. president and a Saudi king. Right now, you have the best friend you have ever had. We are your besties. We're besties now. Just like we're besties with this Syrian dude that used to be ISIS and Al-Qaeda. That's kind of crazy. Russia officially is returning to Syria to protect it from Israel. Oh, this ought to be good. So before, Russia had outposts right there in the Golan in preparation for all the stuff that was going to hit the fan, and yet they still allowed it to happen in Syria. And now that there's a new government there, I guess they're now working again with the leader there. I think what happened was Israel didn't bank on. It's kind of like jumping out of the pan into the fire. They got rid of who I thought was a lot more moderate, someone that I would trust a lot more than this guy. They truly have an enemy on their border now. So now you've got Russia coming down out of the north, just like the Bible says. And now they're going to be establishing, this is totally prophecy right here. Russia and Syria have come to an agreement to redeploy Russian peacekeeper troops to the Syrian-Israeli border, Israeli Broadcasting Corporation reports. Now, Trump is leading a coalition of nations that are Islamic into Israel on their border into Gaza to oversee. This is why Qatar and Turkey's a big player in the last days. Saudi Arabia, they are too, and UAE all want stakes. They want a piece of the pie of the Gaza oversight and administration. And really, I think it's all about Israel itself. They're coming in for the kill. And you got the king of the north, which is Russia, now coming down. And you've got Syrian. This guy's, he's a butcher. This dude is a butcher. I mean, he was head of ISIS. I mean, you know what ISIS was? Trump's like, well, he's a tough guy, but he's doing a great job. We gotta work out with them. Let's all get together and sing Kumbaya. Everything will be better. So this dude right here in Syria, Syrian leader, is working with Russia and he's working with the U.S. and Trump. What are we going to do? Give Syrian leader protection as well? LARPing, no, I'm not a Messianic and I'm not an Israeli. I'm not an Israeli. Why would you think I was an Israeli? I mean, I understand a lot of background and I understand a lot of history, biblically speaking. And I think I understand the big picture more so than most that are just compartmentalized, whether they're Protestants or Jews or even Messianics. I mean, I've gone through all the different groups, and I've spent time really getting to know what people think and their view of what Scripture teaches, even though it's out of context, or a lot of times people don't have the correct interpretation because their lifestyle is not committed in the right way to the one who reveals secrets, right? The one who reveals what his own word says, he's the only one that can do it. So if you're not obedient and trusting and following God's will as the good book says, you're not going to understand it. You're going to just have compartmentalized information, and you're going to be misinterpreting everything. In fact, the devil loves the Bible more than, but that's why a lot of preachers are preaching inspired by a spirit that's not of God. So my teachings are not, like Jesus would say, my teachings are not my own. They're given to me by the Father in his own physical earthly sojourn in his body. He said, if you want to know if the teachings are mine or they come from the Father, John chapter 7, verses 17. This is a quote. It says, if any man wills to do my will, he will know of the doctrines, whether I teach them of myself or they are of my Father. You will know, because he's not seeking his own glory. He's not seeking his own earthly adornment. He's not trying to impress anybody. In fact, he's willing to lay down his life for the whole of humanity, because only God could actually save humanity anyway, right? But this is the mystery of the incarnation, is that God was in Christ, reconciling the world back to himself. This is the gospel in a nutshell. But this goes all the way back to the Old Covenant. This goes back to Torah. This goes back to, the whole history of the development and the unfolding plan of God throughout the ages, which ultimately culminated in the fullness of time when Jesus appeared, when all roads led to Rome. All that infrastructure was there for that message to go out to the whole of the world. And I think we're at the culmination of the age once again, and I believe that the return of Christ is at hand, the second advent. And it's all prophetically given, and we can go into all that later on, but I do a lot of teaching on this. So if you ever want to get into good teachings on the Scripture, I'll definitely take you there. And we're going to be doing that a lot on our ministry channels. So get connected on those ministry channels. And also when the app comes out and the church, we're going to formally launch the church that we have set up. Okay, so getting back to the news here. And that was in response to a question. You see what happens when you ask me a question? You're going to take me off on a rabbit trail, and I'm not going to get through the news. No, I believe the Bible. When did I ever say I didn't believe the Bible? Anybody that knows me knows I believe the Bible. Anybody that's been listening to me at any length of time knows I believe the Bible. All right, okay. So let me get back on this. So Congressman Thomas Massie has blasted top Republicans, saying that the Speaker, Attorney General, FBI Director, and Vice President, and even President Donald Trump, quote, could have saved us all this time and embarrassment if they just released the files on Jeffrey Epstein months ago. Massie adds that Trump's flip-flop on releasing the files is happening only because he was told to. So Trump at the very last hour says he's all for it, and that he's always been for it, and that it's the greatest thing that's ever happened, like he always does. Even a loss is touted as a win and a great victory, like never ever understood before in the history of mankind, and that this was all for the whole purpose of a 4D chess move so that he can destroy the Democrats. And all of MAGA said they're just in awe of this wisdom in this amazing chess move, 4D chess. Is my microphone low? Oh, okay. Okay, no. Okay, so here we go. Here's Cuomo's brother, talking to Jeffrey Epstein's brother, Mark Epstein, on the phone. And what did Mark Epstein say? He didn't tell me what he knew, but Jeffrey definitely had dirt on Trump. Trump can deny it all he wants, but it's pretty clear everything Trump says is a lie. And it's not just a lie. It's a hyperbole. It's a truthful hyperbole. It's an embellishment. It's an exaggeration. It's a little white lie, like the little white hats out there that are doing 3D and 4D chess moves. As long as you believe anything is possible. White magicians, black magic, white magic, it really is all the same. It's kind of like yin and yang. Just trust the plan. It'll all come out in the end. Winter is coming big time. Meteorologists are warning of a cold blast, an Arctic blast that's going to be coming down. Everybody's going to freeze. Lights are going to go out. Everybody's going to be hiding in their garages with their coats on and little candles because they don't have any. They didn't prepare for cold. Lights out. We've been telling everybody, you better get ready. Man is now severely ill in Washington state with unpredictable virus never before seen in humans. This almost sounds like Trump's talking about it. Never before, ever seen. We're going to have to make a bunch of ventilators again. Lots of them killing machines. Got to get out there and make some money. All your hospitals we're going to stimulate your economy. Here comes another one. Everybody's going to get locked down. More money's going to flow back into all the big billionaires. Once again, we're going to get back our money. We're going to get rich again. Rich. It's going to be a hot economy. Hot economy. You're never going to see a hot economy like this one. It's coming really quick. Get ready. Trump doing the occultic thing. Remember that? This was all back in the day when he first went over to the House of Saud. Remember that in his first administration? Holding on to the to the crystal ball. This is all occult imagery here. You knew I was a snake before you took me in. No, you don't seem dumb, LARPing. You don't seem dumb. I know you're just checking. You're trying to figure me out. I know. It's okay. There's a lot of people like that out there listening right now. So you're just helping a lot of other people that have probably the same questions. So it's all good. So here we go. Trump's, remember during his first term, Trump met with the Saudi king in 2017 for this infamous picture. Remember that picture? Look at that. Look at that picture. Please look closely at that picture. What are they doing? The word palantir means crystal ball. Palantir. Palantir, which divinates the future, right? A crystal ball divinates the future, used by the light side of magic wizards, right? You know, the witches, the white witches, the wizards, the white wizards, they like to look into the magic crystal balls. You know, they're the white hat guys, you know, the white hats, of which the high wizard is none other than Trump himself. Even according to Marina Abramovich, the highest level witch in Hollywood and in politics, said that the shamans told her that Trump is of the highest order magician. He's here to awaken the world through chaos. And do we not see chaos unfolding in the world? And yes, he's controlling it. He is the storm. Remember, he is the storm. All you Q people out there. But that's good, isn't it? But that's good. He's in control, right? This is why Trump is in the famous picture with the king of Saudi Arabia with his hands on Palantir, the crystal ball. That's a Palantir right there. Palantir. You know what Palantir is, right? So Trump was showing off to those who know the sentient world simulation that Palantir that Peter Thiel produced. The sentient world simulation. Okay, so this is why Trump is considered the highest level wizard of white magic, and this is why he chose J.D. Vance, whose venture capital company funds Palantir. Palantir is the crystal ball, the sentient world simulation. Palantir is the software that runs the quantum computer world. It is part of the final quantum beast system that has been built, Satan's final agenda before Jesus' return. It's all connected. No wonder they are celebrating such a massive success tonight, ushering in the golden age to the world. Really, $1 trillion investment from Saudi Arabia. All that oil money coming in once again. Trump says, I don't care when the Senate passes the House bill, whether tonight or at some time in the near future. I just don't want Republicans to take their eyes off the victories that we've had, including the great, big, beautiful bill. Closed borders, no men and women's sports. He goes through a whole list of things that he's done. It's the hottest economy, the hot. Yes, everything's making money. We're making money. I don't care. Trump plays indifferent on Epstein files. Earlier this year, Trump would go mad when asked about Epstein and insisted that there was basically nothing left to release. Yet here we are with Congress sending him a bill mandating the DOJ to release those non-existent quote-unquote files. They're not there, aren't they? What happened? Well, I guess they're there because he's signing a bill. Contradiction. Another one. But hey, it's all part of the plan, right? It's 3D chess move. Trump's reaction, more boasting. Remember, when he claimed bankruptcy and they said it was a loss, he's done it 7 times. All of his businesses failed. The reporters asked him and he said, no, I make money when I claim bankruptcy. Oh, okay. It's a win. I've made more money claiming bankruptcy than I've ever made. How does that happen? Got to game the system. Somebody got to lose something somewhere. You got to be doing something. Somebody's got to be losing somewhere. It's kind of like welfare for rich people. It's kind of like welfare for rich people. Epstein files bill gives Trump's attorney general power to withhold key material. So this bill that they just pushed through gives Trump's attorney, Pam Bondi, the power to withhold key material. According to the text, and you can look at these bills right here. All you got to do is click on them. It says, according to the text of the Epstein Files, Transparency Act, the very bill Trump does not care about, right? Attorney General Pam Bondi is explicitly allowed to withhold or heavily redact entire portions of the Epstein documents. So if there's nothing there and they're not really caring about it now, then why are they going to redact it heavily and withhold documents? Because why? They're protecting people, they're protecting methods, and what do they call it? Methods and, you know, the intelligence. They always, national security. What's national security is involved in this too? Really? Wow. I wonder what kind of things are in there. But there's supposedly nothing there, according to Trump. It's a hoax. This is a hoax. Well, then, if it's a hoax, then just let us all see it. Then it's probably just fake news, right? You said it was fake news, so let us just look at the fake news and the hoax. How about that? Don't even care about it. Just sign it through. Sign the bill. Let us see it. Here's what the bill really says: the AG may withhold or redact records that include personal identifiable information, anything that could jeopardize an investigation, any classified material, graphic images, and more. Every one of those categories can be stretched wide enough to drive a private jet full of Epstein buddies through. And the same AG who decides what gets hidden also gets to write the justification after the fact. The Epstein files may be released, but apparently not the parts that really matter. And by the way, did you see when they questioned Pam Bondi, how she stuttered around? She didn't even know what to say. She was like, she looked like a deer in the headlights. She didn't know what to say. She looked completely guilty. You know, she looked guilty. That was the initial body language that came across to me as guilty, guilty, guilty. She's going against her conscience. I can see it. I can see it in her body language. I can see it in her eyes. I can see it the way she stuttered. She looks guilty, and she knows it. Breaking. Israeli National Security Minister Ben-Gvir publicly threatened to assassinate all the Palestinian diplomats if the UN recognizes Palestine. So this is a big move by the Israelis to go into the West Bank and to also completely and utterly reject anything that the U.S. is trying to broker, as well as the UN, and go at it alone. They're going to go at it alone. They're going to go and do what they're going to do, and it's going to be. This is why all the nations are going to gather, and they're going to press. This is it. This is the big press, the last day moment where everything is pressed. So let's just stop the stupid comments, man, dude. That dude is just, he's out of here. But anyways, let's go back over here. So Grok says translation from Hebrew was disabled because it often amplified inflammatory or policy violating content, like calls for violence to a global audience via inaccurate or literal renditions. So it's the translations, I guess, from Hebrew. Grok is the AI, you know, it says it prioritizes free speech for opinions, but limits features that exacerbate harm without suspending originals. No evidence supports targeting any group. It's about platform integrity amid documented spikes in Hebrew hate speech. So I'm not exactly sure what this is saying here, but it says X suspended translations from Hebrew after it was determined that Jews massively spread hate speech calls for genocide and violence. So basically they're saying that and it's true. I mean, the Jews are definitely going after a lot of a lot of people. So here we are today. This is November 19th. The administration of U.S. President Donald Trump is considering the possibility of conducting special operations to capture or eliminate Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro. The New York Times is now reporting, citing sources inside of the U.S. government. The Golden Age update. U.S. grocery prices hit record highs as monthly costs for a family of four reaches $1,030. American households are increasingly grappling with the cost of living squeeze that's eroding access to basic nutrition, one of the few essential expenses families can't cut back on. Data from Feeding America, the Urban Institute, and the Bureau of Labor Statistics show that the average grocery prices have climbed 37% since 2017. That's the equivalent of more than $250 in additional monthly expenses for a typical family of four. As of August, that family now spends about $1,300 per month on groceries. Those pressures have contributed to 47 million Americans experiencing food insecurity. The data is consistent with findings from a recent Associated Press NORC Center poll, which reported that grocery costs have become a bigger source of financial stress for Americans than rent, health care, or student debt, or even credit card debt. People are actually buying groceries on credit card. And by the way, did you see here? They're cutting a huge amount of people off of SNAP. They're talking millions of people are going to be cut from SNAP because they're not meeting the requirements. Now, hey, that might be a really good thing because there's a lot of people gaming the system. But still, that's going to cause huge amounts of backlash. I'm not saying that they don't need to be cut. They probably do. But our system has become so enabling that it's like enabling a drug addict. The enabler needs to have counseling too. Okay, everybody's going to have counseling because everything is going to go into chaos when they start cutting these millions of people off food benefits. Because there's going to be some people maybe that are going to be looking at this as a total and complete offense to blacks, to Mexicans, to minorities and the poor. I mean, they're gonna take this to the streets. I have a feeling that there's going to be huge, big time protests that are going to be erupting all over America as this thing really, really digs in. Okay, it's coming. I hope you guys are ready. Let's see what else. New Trump administration signals to Zelensky that hey, it's okay if he was trolling because it gives me opportunity to really tell everybody what I'm thinking. And that's fine. I always like trolls, but after a certain point, they just become boring and annoying. You know, I'll take what they want to give and I'll use it for the benefit of the channel and to promote the message of the guy. Because I mean, that guy opened me doors for me to preach. He opened doors for me to explain more details about what I'm doing. Thank you. But at a certain point, now you're starting to be annoying and I'm going to snuff him out. He's gone. All right. So, I mean, you can even tell by his name. His name is LARP. What is a LARP? A LARP is a live action role player. It's somebody that's playing a role. They're acting as if they're somebody else. You know, it's obviously someone that's a troll. So but I already knew that, but I was just playing along with them. I like to play along with trolls sometimes. That's why I like Trump. I don't have Trump derangement syndrome either. That's a bad thing. People don't like. They're like, it's Trump derangement. It's got to be Trump derangement syndrome. What's the matter? I don't know. No. But see, now everybody's waking up anyway, so it doesn't really matter now. But before, you know, it was something I had to deal with. But now everybody's waking up, so it's like now it's not even a big deal. Everybody knows. Trump signals to Zelensky that Ukraine must accept proposal or a proposed deal to end the Russian-Ukraine war. The plan includes Kiev giving up territory, relinquishing some weapons, and reducing the size of its armed forces in exchange for a U.S. security guarantee. Do you really think we're going to guarantee their security? I doubt it. Look at this. Bitcoin down 88, went all the way down to 88,000 a coin. Huge drop. That's a huge drop. Very huge, steep crash. Very bad. Can you imagine when Trump told everybody to get in at 124,000, said it was just going to go to the moon, and they're telling everybody it's going to go to $1 million, and you got all these people that are putting money into it, And you probably got rich people, you know, that millionaires are like, yeah, well, I like Trump. Blah, blah. I guess I'm going to believe him just like I did with the vaccine. I know I got a little sick, but you know, I got some terrible things happening since then. I guess that vaccine did save my life. I probably would have been dead if it wasn't for that vaccine. But hey, he's telling us to put money into this too. So let's go ahead, Thelma, and let's just go ahead and put 500,000 of our savings in there right now and see what happens. Well, look what happened. You lost almost half of it. It's just like buying Trump meme coins. It's starting to heat up between Israel and Syria. This is right here. This is Psalms 83 war right there, and Isaiah 17, 1 through 14, Jeremiah 49, 23 through 27. At a heated UN Security Council session, Israeli Ambassador Danny Danon clashed with Syrian Ambassador Ibrahim al-Albi over claims of change in Syria. Danon said, "There is no evidence that Syria has turned over a new leaf. We cannot speak of a new Syria, with Druze, Christians, and Alawites being massacred. Change is proven through actions. Stop the killings, reining in the militias, and protecting minorities." Well, it doesn't really matter what Danon says in a UN council meeting. It matters what Trump thinks, and Trump loves the Syrian leader. He's buddies with him now. So you're going to have to change Trump's mind on that one, because now Trump's in control. In fact, he's rolling out this brand of peace. This is a new brand of peace, Israel. This is a new brand of peace that he's going to bring to the whole world, not just to Israel and Palestine. He's going to roll this brand of peace out. This is going to be the model for the new peacekeeping missions all over the world. That's what he said tonight. So is this global peace? Is this going to be global peace that the Bible speaks about, that Trump's telling everybody it's going to happen? Trump's already called it eternal peace. I don't know how many times. I don't think Trump can actually deliver on eternal peace. I think that's one of those lying. The Bible talks about that. You know, that's like a wannabe Jesus or something, a wannabe Messiah that would say something like that. You know, that he's going to bring eternal peace, and that he's going to stop the end of the world from happening in the Middle East. Like, yeah, Jesus is not going to return to the Middle East when all these wars begin to culminate, because that's when all these things hit the fan. But Trump says he's not going to allow that to happen. You know, the prophets said it would happen, but Trump said a couple times, I will not let that happen. I will not let that happen. The end of the world will not happen in the Middle East. So prophets have said it, Trump said, but he's more authoritative than the prophets. A lot of people are looking at that video and they can't believe their ears. Is this AI? Did he really say that? Yep, it's right there. It was right there when he got interviewed. It was a podcast. I think it was in 2000, right before the election. And he said it twice. He said it on two different podcasts. So everybody knows exactly what he meant. He was talking about it everywhere. He said, the prophets have stated that the end of the world, but I will not let that happen. And then he said it again. I will not let that happen. Like, why would you say you're not going to let the prophetic words that God has given to the prophets come to pass? Why would Trump say that? You have to ask yourself that. I mean, he does believe he's the chosen one. And the face of God to the Jews, he's already said that too. You got to kind of wonder. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, look at him. He's all dressed up military. Look at him. Benjamin Netanyahu looking like a military man here. He landed by helicopter in Syria. He was in Syria early today on Mount Hermon. Now, they don't want to give up Mount Hermon. They're not going to give it up. They are going to keep Mount Hermon. And they are going to keep everything that they've got right now. They're not going to give it up. They're not going to let the international community come in there. They're not going to let the UN. They're not going to. I think they're going to do something. This is what they're going to do. I think there's going to be huge amounts of chaos that's going to break out all over the world. That's what I think is going to come down. Today's visit by Netanyahu to Mount Hermon is a direct challenge to Turkey, Qatar, and the U.S. when it comes to Syria. Netanyahu needed to blend into the military attire for everyone else, everyone else. Otherwise, he would stand out as an important target. This was an important visit by Netanyahu. He knows how vulnerable the Israeli positions in Syria are in helping to prevent a northern ground invasion by armed Syrian and Iranian militias. Netanyahu will not give up the Golan nor Mount Hermon. Hezbollah rebuilds its military infrastructure in southern Lebanon in major ceasefire violation, and Israel is preparing to attack. We told you about that. Questions asked about Trump's admin change in policy causes Pam Bondi to stutter and look confused. All right, so basically this is what was said. Will you release all the files within 30 days, the reporter says. Pam Bondi, well, we'll continue to follow the law. Journalist says, you said no additional investigation was warranted. What changed? Remember she said that a while back? She's like, there's no need for no investigation. There's nothing in the files. It's done. You know, there was no files. There was no files. It was a hoax, right? It was a hoax. We don't need to investigate a hoax, right? Okay, so then Bondi responds, information that has come, information, there's new information, additional information. How many times are you going to say information? You want to hear? Let's just listen to it. I want to show it to you too anyway, because this is like really telling. This is very telling in her demeanor here. You just pay attention to her body language. Where is this at? Oh, okay. I'm on the wrong page. Okay, here we go. Just look at her demeanor.
Attorney General, do you mean that you will provide all the files by 30 days?
We will follow the law. The law passed both chambers last evening. It has not yet been signed, but we will continue to follow the law, again, while protecting victims, but also providing maximum transparency.
To that, Madam Attorney General, the DOJ statement earlier this year saying that the files would not release mentioned the fact that the review of the documents and the evidence did not suggest that any additional investigation of third parties was warranted. What changed since then that you launched this investigation?
Information that has come for information. There's information new information, additional information, and again, we will continue to follow the law, to investigate any leads. If there are any victims, we encourage all victims to come forward, and we will continue to provide maximum transparency under the law.
Right. We believe you. We believe you. You sound very convincing. I would stake my future, my financial future, and put all my money into Bitcoin because you sound so convincing. Oh, AI boom triggers memory chip crisis. Remember during COVID, after COVID, when all the chip shortages were happening? Well, Scott, remember that? No cars, no trucks, no computers. Everything was short. There was a big supply chain crunch, and everything was gone, right? Well, look at this. AI triggers memory chip crisis. Phones, cars at risk. Memory chip shortage accelerates as AI demand consumes supply, threatening price hikes. Now, listen to this very carefully. This is going to affect everything. Computers, any kind of a computer, anything that has a computer in it, cars, trucks. There's probably a whole bunch of other products that have computer chips in them that you're going to be short. TVs, I bet you even TVs. But listen to what it says here. Samsung quietly hiked memory chip prices up to 60% in November amid supply constraints. Consumer electronics, this means everything's going to be more expensive in electronics. Consumer electronics and automotive industries face production bottlenecks as chip makers prioritize lucrative AI demand. Price increases likely to hit smartphones, laptops, desktops as well, and vehicles as 2006 AI build-out intensifies supply crunch. And listen to what it says about why. Memory suppliers, these are the ones that are making the chips and they're supplying, are chasing AI dollars with good reason. Server companies building massive data centers will pay premium prices for the fastest chips, while consumer device makers squeeze every penny. And by the way, pennies are going away anyway, so they can't squeeze them anymore. So what's happening there? They want to get cheaper chips, and they used to sell it to them, but now they're not, because they're putting all their money and they're putting all their production toward the high end, where all the money is, the AI, because everything's going AI now, and it's going to be a very demanding industry that needs this production. Civilian production, like you and I, and computers like this, everything's going to go up in price, because they're going to look at that as a market that doesn't need to be even addressed, right? Unless you have the money to pay for the higher expensive chips now, because everything's going to go up in price because AI is willing to pay it. AI people are all willing to pay it. People that are making these big databases, they got the money to pay it. So it could be very bad for PCs, laptops, consumer electronics, and automotive, which depend on cheap memory chips. The shortage isn't just about AI hogging supply, it's also about terrible timing. It's just timing. There's just not enough time to make all the chips that they need. I mean, if they had the ability to probably make the cheaper chips for all the computer needs and demands, they probably would. But because of this huge crunch, it's a bottleneck. It's like this is all coming to a head right now, and everybody's doing the race to the who can get the AI super hive mind control. It's kind of like a race to get the bomb. You know, in the 1940s, whoever gets it first is going to be the ruler of the world. And so everybody's racing to get the AI-powered centers so that they can somehow have a piece of the big global pie. And that's why Trump's so excited about his Stargate program and how he's got all these tech billionaires working with him. And he's rolling it out to the whole world. Isn't that interesting? Doesn't that sound like prophecy to you? Tell me that don't sound like prophecy to you. His name even sounds like prophecy. The little horn. The little Trump makes great boasts. Comes back from mortal political head wound. And actually, it was kind of literal, too, because it just barely missed his head. But hey, that's what sprung him back into the high level of invincibility. Like he went from an underdog all the way up to winning the election because of that. He miraculously comes back from a mortal political head wound. And by the way, I had told everybody, even when he was down and out, when he was looking like he had all that lawfare against him, and even the tech giants were siding with Kamala Harris, I said, he'll come back. You watch. It'll be a miraculous comeback. It's going to be like a political raising from the dead. And sure enough, it happened. How did I know that? Well, because it's prophetic. It's all spoken in prophecy. And then I told you he's going to betray Israel, right? Before it happened. And then what happened? He betrayed Israel. And everybody was like, wow, you got that one right. And then I said, now he's going to betray MAGA. And then what happened? The Epstein files came out. And wow, it was all headlines. Trump betrays MAGA. And then I said, oh, but he'll make up, and then he'll schmooze him, and then he'll kind of come back, and everything will be okay. But then he'll do it again a little bit later, a little bit more next time. And sure enough, now betrayal of Israel is happening once again, right? All in the headlines. And then what happened? I said, it's going to follow. Same thing. MAGA is going to be betrayed. Well, here are the Epstein files. Once again, this is a betrayal. Everybody looking at it as a betrayal. It's like I said. And people can't understand why this is happening. You got too many people now that are big-time MAGA people are jumping ship. Now, I suspect that he's going to go back and schmoozing everybody again, getting everybody back on board. Once again, it's going to happen again. But this time, you're separating all the real intelligent, spiritually intelligent people from the people that are really guided by a base carnal instinct, and they're going to still continually be devoted to that earthly power. That's what they're going to be devoted to, and they're going to go along with it. And they're going to be the ones that are foot soldiers that are going to be enforcing this whole power structure that is demonic. Yeah, they're going to be right on board. They're going to think it's the golden age. And it's going to be golden in the sense that you're probably going to see some big golden mushroom clouds here pretty soon. Because it says when they say peace and security, behold, sudden destruction comes upon them like a woman in travail, and they will not escape. That's how it happens. So this is a national emergency. U.S. government to buy 10 large new nuclear reactors. This is Zero Hedge article right there. They're taking over national infrastructure nuclear reactors for national reasons, for probably national security reasons, to try to gain more power. And this is all about AI. They need power. They need as much power as they can get to charge and generate and to produce and create these data centers that are going to be able to control the whole world. U.S. debt rose by $620 billion during the government shutdown. Going up to close, getting up there, I bet you it's probably $1 trillion. President Trump at the U.S. Saudi Investment Forum on the COVID pandemic said, quote, we were sending ventilators all over the world. We became king of the ventilators. What a period of time that was for all of us. King of the ventilators. Really? You know, the ventilators were killing people. You know that, right? He was boasting about the fact that many people died from believing their propaganda. Do you understand how evil and deceptive that this all was? And for you guys that don't remember, you need to go back and really look at what happened during COVID, because it was all in preparation for what's happening now, technologically and socially, social engineering us, getting us ready for the next big, deep taking away of our freedoms and everything else that's coming. This was all in preparation to kind of test us and prepare us, right? That was what COVID was. So it says a reminder that all of these false positives from the fraudulent PCR tests were meant to make people think that they had COVID, and then they were put on a hospital protocol, remdesivir and ventilators. Remdesivir killed your liver, and I think it was your kidneys. It basically just killed them off. And then it opened you up to infections, and then people got pneumonias because they had ventilators stuck down their throats, and that was basically a death sentence. So they were like death machines. Like they said, like over 95% of the people that were on ventilators died. So if you were going to go on a ventilator, you're pretty much going to die during COVID. Official report, ventilators killed. This is an official report. Ventilators killed nearly all COVID patients, millions killed in hospitals. Nearly all COVID-19 patients who died in hospitals during the early phase of the pandemic were killed as a direct result of being put on a ventilator, a disturbing new report has concluded. A new analysis suggests that most patients who were forced to be hooked up to a ventilator due to COVID-19 infection also developed secondary bacterial pneumonia. This pneumonia was responsible for a higher mortality rate than the COVID-19 infection. So while COVID-19 may have put these patients in the hospital, it was actually a secondary infection brought about by the use of a mechanical ventilator that caused their deaths. Our study highlights the importance of preventing, looking for, and aggressively treating secondary bacterial pneumonia. Now, this was a forward from our channel from back in the 2021, I guess, or so. And this is the sciencealert.com site, pretty reputable site. This is an article right there. This isn't our words. This is a site from, let's just go back there and see what time that was. Kind of curious when that was. May 14th, 2023 post. That's when that post was. So, yeah, that was a May 23. May of 23. Okay, so where am I at here? Let's, how far did I get? How far did I get? Oh my gosh, tell me. Okay, let's go through this. Dr. McCullough said virtually all the deaths occurred in the hospital. And he said that Who gave himself the title King of Ventilators? Yes, that would be Trump. Hospitals murdered COVID patients. The more they killed, the more money they made. And that's true because hospitals were given a huge amount of money, like hundreds of thousands of dollars for every person that died on a ventilator. So they were encouraged to put people on ventilators. McAuliffe testifies that virtually all the deaths occurred in the hospital. Hospitals received enormous financial incentives to implement lethal protocols. Remdesivir was one of them, and ventilators were the other one. And let's move on. Trump said, we became king of the ventilators, thousands and thousands of ventilators. Trump boasted in an April 29th speech. Proof that they wanted mass death during COVID pandemic. They purchased 35,000 ventilators and not 35,000 feeding tubes. How many people on ventilators threw blood clots into their legs because we didn't give them blood thinner or sequential compressive devices? We didn't do that, and we wondered why people started throwing clots. A nurse whistleblower, the founder of American Frontline Nurses, Nicole Surik, describes for Peter Santilli how she witnessed hospital staff neglecting patients put on ventilators for COVID. She says that the mistreatment led to people developing blood clotting issues and perforated bowels and even dying from starvation. Yeah, we saw a lot of that. That was crazy. Yeah, this is just absolutely just horrendous. I don't want to get into all this. It's just horrendous stuff. Elon Musk has said that over the next 10 to 20 years, jobs will become optional and money will stop being relevant at some point in the future. You're not going to need money. You're just going to be in a little 15-minute city, or as Trump calls them, freedom cities. And when you go into these little digital ghettos, it's going to say over the top of the ghetto when you go in, work equals freedom. Yeah, digital, get into the digital system and you'll be free. So, oh gosh, platforms like YouTube, Instagram, Spotify, Roblox, Discord, and Xbox are rolling out AI facial age checks, forcing users to scan their face or ID or lose access. Oh, you got to be kidding me. Soon you will not be able to access these platforms, as this is all part of the digital IDB system. This is why we're doing what we're doing, guys. We're going to get out of this whole crazy AI lockdown. They're going to lock everybody down, guys, and it's going to happen very quickly. So we have to get this up and running, and this is what I'm doing tomorrow night or tomorrow in getting this set up. This is why I've been working over and around the clock, and we need your help. We need your help. I'm putting out a whole bunch of money right now, and I can't. I'm doing this by faith. Okay, I'm totally walking by faith, so I need your guys' help. So please hit the subscribe or the donate buttons if you can, and help us get through this whole setup. Not to mention just paying a lot of these internet bills anyway. We got other internet bills. We want to make sure that we get it all taken care of. Trump calls for federal AI standards and has demanded an end to excessive state-level regulation of artificial intelligence and warned that state rules will end up threatening the U.S. economy. So he's saying, hey, we got to throw all rules to the side and let AI just have its way. Otherwise, you're going to mess up our economy. We don't want any guardrails or nothing. Just let AI do its will. Just let it have its free will. And you guys just follow, okay? That's how you're going to get rich. States will not be able to opt out. This is the technocratic AI police state and the beast system being put in place, and Trump is leading the way. Fox News, right here. Go ahead and watch it. Palantir. This is a CIA-funded, by the way, Palantir was funded by CIA to create a national database of all Americans. All the information and data we consume is being categorically cataloged on a mass scale using AI data centers and can be used against us in the future for pre-crimes. What is that? Minority Report. should we dare to dissent or step out of line. It will also be tied to the medical industry or system directly, and all of your medical records will be fully accessed by the system, including every vaccine or prescription that you've taken or procedure that you've had. Palantir is the most evil company in the world and now has an absolute foothold in multiple government agencies through the Doge PSYOP, thanks to the Trump administration and Elon Musk. Oh, and they pretended like they had a falling out, right? Because, and they didn't find all that money they said they were going to find, right? Over $1.5 trillion. Oh, but maybe that's why Trump never came through on his promise to give every American $5,000, because they didn't find any excessive money, savings. It was all Elon's fault. And that's why, that was another reason. So I think it was all fake. It was all theater, because really they're still, I believe it was fake. I said it from the very beginning. The end game is fully totalitarian technocracy, police state run by AI drones and robots that will enforce it. This is Donald Trump's biggest betrayal to his base. Here is Owen Schroyer talking to James Thorpe that Trump administration had betrayed MAHA, which is the Make America Healthy Again, by prioritizing profits over the health of Americans and repeatedly hosting Pfizer CEO Albert Bourla. Oh, yeah, that was who he was. Okay, Pfizer CEO at the White House. Okay, so that's why, yeah. I don't know why I'm thinking. That's who he was, Pfizer. Department of Justice under Pam Bondi shut down a federal investigation into Pfizer, the criminal enterprise accused of international corruption. Bondi had previously provided legal services for Pfizer. The biopharmaceutical complex remains fully operational. President Trump has now labeled Susie Wiles the most powerful woman in the world, saying that she could wipe out any country with just one phone call. Yeah, he said it right in a press conference. He adds that he isn't even sure he could wield that kind of power himself, but he's confident she can. Absolutely crazy. Let's listen to that.
Susie Wiles, she had a father, Pat Summerall, the great announcer, football. He was a great football player, became an even greater, the voice of the NFL, and he was supposed to be a tough cookie, and I believe it 100%. Most powerful woman in the world. She can take out a country, take out a country with one phone call. That's power. I don't know if I could do that, but she could. Thank you, Susie. Do you feel good about the job you're doing? Huh? She's never going to be satisfied.
She probably feels guilty that she's doing this.
Susie.
She probably feels guilty, and he's trying to put her on the spot. Hey, you feel good about what you're doing? Do you feel good about what you're doing? I know. You probably want to do more, I'm sure. Super creepy. The world. Okay, so this is the one we want to do, and then I got to go. So the world, whoops. What am I doing? Okay, so super creepy. The world ahead of 2026. This is the title of the magazine cover published by The Economist. And it shows how they expect war, pestilence, and financial collapse next year. And I told you, this is a magazine cover that has encrypted messages that are very... they target more the elites that messaging their base. It's kind of like that, it's hidden. It's like a hidden from the average person. But for those who understand how they communicate and how they message out in public and through movies and through predictive programming and everything else, we see what's going on, and we read all their papers too. Anyways, we understand how the cult work, the high level occultists work. So this is what they're doing here. So you'll see the picture here in just a second. The World Ahead, 2026 magazine cover published by Economist is the most ominous that the global elites have ever published that shows war, pestilence, financial collapse next year. There's a mistake in there, so I got to get rid of that word there. Okay, so war, when you look at that cover, what stands out to you? To me, the fact that there are so many symbols relating to war really got my attention. There's a huge red tank on the one side of the cover, and on the other side, a red tank. And on the other side of the cover, at the top, there are several missiles that look like they are ready to be launched. And at the bottom, there are those more large missiles. Also on the right, in the middle, we see two enormous swords that are crossed. That is clearly meant to symbolize war, and also Islam, because Islam has crossed swords. Pestilence, two gigantic syringes near the bottom of the cover. And throughout the cover, there are lots of pills floating around. I started to count them, but there are just so many. So what does this mean? They are suggesting that another global pandemic is on the way. 2026 will be a year when people are taking shots and pills to try to protect themselves from a major pestilence that has broken out. Financial collapse. In addition, throughout the bottom half of the graphic, it looks like paper currency is failing everywhere, or falling everywhere. Obviously, they are trying to communicate something about the global economy, and it certainly isn't good, showing 2006 being the year of the financial collapse. Yeah, and it's also Trump, too. Trump's in there, and so is Putin, Xi Jinping, and Netanyahu. So here it is. Let's take a look at it. So this is the Economist cover, and I'm going to blow it up here so you guys can see it. So you see there, and we're going to go through it just a little bit here at a time. So you can see there, you see my cursor there? Let me get my cursor on there so you can. Oh, great. Okay, there we go. All right, so can you see my cursor now? Okay, there you go. Okay, so there you see the 250th anniversary of the United States, right? Right there. And you see there's handcuffs and a fist, which is like a protest type defiance against this birthday cake of the U.S., right? And you got missiles coming up with little red balloons. Obviously, this is July 4th, but you've got the U.S. flag behind with missiles coming up. You got pills everywhere. Pills are everywhere. Pills. You got satellites up here. Satellites. You got drones. This is a drone, a Reaper drone up here. You got these tethered. These are those drones that are like tethered, that are able to go in. Like the Ukrainians are using a lot of these tethered drones. Here's a satellite, some kind of a satellite weapon shooting at what? Oh, this is a cargo ship that has missiles coming out of it. Look at the missiles coming out of it. This is what they say China has. And they're going to send these cargo ships in real close, and then they're going to start shooting missiles out of them. And you got little drones coming out of here too, it looks like. And where are they shooting the missiles toward? Oh, they're shooting it toward the 250th anniversary of the United States. Amazing. And then you've got down here, you've got Netanyahu, you've got Putin, and you've got Xi Jinping. And then on this side, you've got Trump on the other side. And in the middle of this, you've got the two drawn swords, right? And then you see the economy crashing right here, going down, 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 right? And I don't know if that's Bitcoin or if that's the penny. You see a penny there. I think that's a penny right there. This person here is doing like a dance, like it looks like a break dance or like a robotic dance. Who the heck is that? I'm not sure who that is. You got tanks here and tanks here. You got robots. You've got little robotic dogs. You got robotic people. Or this looks like a hazmat type situation here. You got more missiles going up with syringes. That's not good. And you see this soccer you can't see the bottom part. I'm sitting here showing you stuff at the bottom and you can't see it. Okay. You see on the bottom here, so you got the syringes and you got missiles down here. And let's try to zoom in a little bit. So you've got a soccer player here, right here. You see this guy right here? And this has to do, I think, with the Olympics, possibly, because there's a lot of Olympic figures down here. You've got a runner here. You've got boxing. You've got a soccer player. See how the money symbol is broken? And justice is broken too. You got broken justice, broken money. You've got X something here. What is this? I'm not sure what this is, but this is the hazmat kind of looking dude here in red. Not sure what that is. You got those robot dogs here. Robot dogs. You got drones. You've got let's see. You got melting ice. There's some melting ice right here. I don't know what the melting ice would signify. Lots of missiles, syringes, missiles, and syringes. So what would missiles represent? Syringes, some kind of terrible outbreak of something, right? Like a war type scenario. There's a skier. So there's a skier, Winter Olympics maybe. You got another Olympian right here. What do they call it? The javelin throwing javelins. These two here, does anybody know who these two are here? Let's see if you can see this. These two right here, this lady and this man, does that, anybody can tell me what you think those two are? And you've got some kind of like it looks like an Xbox or some kind of a Nintendo controller, but it's all attached to something over here, and I don't know what that is. It looks like a brain or something, some kind of a brain interface maybe. Maybe this has something to do with virtual reality. I don't know. But here's a ship. Up here you see a ship. And it looks like some kind of Viking ship, maybe. Some kind of a Viking ship. I don't know what that would symbolize. But this looks like this is Ukraine, Zelensky. Pretty sure that's Zelensky. It looks like they have something in their thing there. I don't know what that is. Is that like an old school Russian? I don't know. Russians? I'm guessing that's some older version of some modern representation of some modern state. I don't know. Got more satellites up here, more drones, lots of pills everywhere. This one is some kind of a missile coming out of the water or coming from this boat. See that missile right there? Or it's probably a drone. Here's some more tethered drones. These are those tethered drones right here. And this right here. Oh, you can't see this. I'm sorry. So like I said, this this dude here, I don't know what that is. I can't see that. Maybe it's something. Anyway, so this is the Economist magazine. And you know there's definitely a message in there they're trying to get across. But why would the soccer player be kicking the world? He's like, maybe it has something to do with during the Olympics. This is all going to go down. So when are the Olympics? You've got Winter Olympics. When do the Olympics begin? Do you guys know? Let me see. February 26th, the Winter Olympics begin in February 6th, 2026. So that means, where are they going to be held? Let's see where they're going to be held. The FIFA World Cup. Well, there's a bunch of different games there. Let's see. Where are the Winter Olympics 2026? Okay, so the Winter Olympics are going to be in Milano Cortina. That is in... Where in the heck is that? I have no idea where that is. It is, let's see, the maps. Let's see what the map says here. Italy. Okay, so that's Italy. It doesn't even say it. It says it's Italy. Okay, so 2026, Italy. And then the Summer Olympics are going to be in... Oh, there are no Summer Olympics. Okay. The Summer Olympics will be held in Los Angeles in 2028. So, I don't know. Maybe it's something else. ESPN is talking about the FIFA World Cup. It could be because there was a soccer player there. But, you know, there's all those other Olympians or maybe there are other things that you would see in the Olympics, like the javelin. You've got the boxing. You've got the runner there. There's a runner. There's a skier. And then, so, you know, there's got to be some other reasons for that. But, yeah. Anyways. I know it's late, guys. I didn't mean to keep you all too late. Just kind of wanted to go through a rundown. I know there's probably more here that I could get into. Let's see if I'm missing something important. I don't want to miss anything really important here, so let's look and see. Oh, did you see this? Look at this one. Got to see this. Okay. Look at this one. Exclusive. Trump's DHS plans immigration raids on churches over the holidays. Tell me that's not Grinch-like. Oh my gosh. This week in Worcester.com, the Department of Homeland Security is briefing federal agencies on plans for immigration enforcement operations inside of churches. Come on, man. That is just that's below the belt. And look at this. This is all about the stuff going on in southern South America. So 3 days ago, the people of Ecuador voted in a referendum to reject the presence and expansion of U.S. military forces in the country. Furthermore, Mexico's Jewish president, she's Jewish, she says, has also opposed U.S. military strikes to combat drug cartels. And then this got me right here. This, in addition to the UK and Colombia suspending intelligence sharing with the United States due to its strikes on vessels that it claims are narco-terrorists, which have resulted in the deaths of over 80 people. So you're saying to me, is this true that the UK is no longer sharing intelligence with the US? Did that actually happen? Let's see. Oh my gosh. UK downplays reports that it has stopped sharing intelligence with U.S. regarding narco-terrorists. It says Yvette Cooper plays down reports that UK halted it. So this is on Sky News, The Guardian, Newsweek. Trump official says UK not a friend to U.S. What? Somebody in the Trump administration says that the UK is not a friend to the U.S. Wow, that was coming from Newsweek. Wow, that's absolutely crazy. So that's pretty significant. Let's see. And I guess that's it. We're done. I can't believe I got through all that information. So, in the meantime, guys, God bless. I'm pray you all do well. Oh, we got somebody that gave. Prism. You're awesome, Prism. God bless. Long time. Prism's been a long time friend of the channel. She's been here since probably the beginning. You've been around for a long time, Prism. I got to say you've probably been here since 2012 or 13 at least, right? You've been around since 2012 or 13. But I do appreciate the support and all of you out there that are supporting what we do. You are very much appreciated, and it's all for you. You're helping us to reach a lot of people. I can focus. I don't have to be divided if I get more supporters. This is why we're trying to build our network. And the list, the SMS list, we're going to gain a lot of followers, and we're going to gain a lot of ears and eyes, hopefully, if we do this correctly. So I'm going to be messaging. That's going to cost some money to do, but hey, that's how we grew last time. Remember, during all of our censorship escapades inside of YouTube, we still grew because we were smart. We went, this is why I thwarted our censorship by starting the SMS. And we grew it from 1,000 all the way up to 35,000 subscribers, or they opt in. So we didn't just add the numbers; they have to opt in. And then they got all these messages about where we were going to be on our next live stream because we were getting censored. And we still, whenever we started a new stream, we'd have 5,000 to 10,000 people there, just like that. It didn't matter if our channel got deleted. We started up a new channel, bam, 5,000 or 10,000 new subscribers. Everybody knew where we were at, just like that. And our channel would go right back up. That's why we got a lot of channels that have like 10,000 subscribers, 15,000 subscribers. Some of them are all the way up to 100,000 subscribers because we preempted the censorship. And that's what we're doing right now because we know it's coming back. All right, so we have to establish ourselves here really quick. This is the time. So we're going to have an embed, probably a third-party embed live streaming capability with a chat right on our website. And then we're also establishing the church on another site. So we have the church, and we'll also do our fellowships and our gatherings there. And we'll have the embeds. We'll probably, we may have like a Zoom calls at every once in a while with leadership and, the outreach that goes through the chats and the teleconferencing if need be. We're going to try to meet people's needs. I'm sure that people are going to be in a lot of trouble as things begin to happen, and we're going to have to pool resources and pray for people and really look to God to take care of people, because that's really what we're supposed to be doing, right? So we're doing this on a wing and a prayer, and we're walking by faith on this. So we need your guys' support. If you see the value in what we're doing, and I believe God's going to bring people to get behind us on this, and we're going to get it out. We're going to do it. So one of our meetings is tomorrow, so I'll let you know more about how it unfolds or as it unfolds. But I don't want to just launch it right now because we're kind of building it right now. We're in the middle of building it, and I'll detail all the details when it all happens, okay? So God bless you guys. You guys all have a great night, a good sleep, and Lord be with you all in Jesus' name, amen. Let me see if I'm missing any chats. Anybody saying anything? Let's see. Amen. Jesus is our cover. Amen. Stay strong, wounded dove. God bless. All right, Kujami. I understand. I know there's a lot of people that are hurting. This is why we want to try to start this up too, is we want to try to help people. We want to try to get some people that have resources to the people that don't, so that we can all kind of help each other out. And we'll do that through, this is what churches are supposed to do. We are supposed to be reaching out to those who are needy in every way. And then God meets their needs, and then they're turning around and helping others. That's the way God works. He gets you back on your feet. He gets you strong. He gets you in a place where you can, reach out and start helping others. So that's how it grows. And we know how to depend on the Lord. We know how to depend on his strength. We know how to depend on his wisdom and on his resources, because really God owns all the resources. Everything is his. Now the devil tries to say it's his, and people that are manipulating the economic, because really it's not about gold and silver, really. It's about demonstrating God's power. If God heals you, isn't that more valuable to you than actually a dollar or $10,000? Is if God can heal you and a doctor can't, do you believe that God can heal you? Do you believe that God can set you free in your heart and your mind and your soul and give you peace, joy, and love beyond anything that you've ever experienced in your whole entire life? Well, and if he does that, then he can touch your physical body. He can give you anything that you need at any time. He can send the ravens to give you the food that you need and the place to live and lights and warmth and everything else. And then at that point, if it's the end of all things, then he's going to call you home, and you're going to have peace even on their deathbed. Whereas a normal person that doesn't know the Lord won't have. They're not going to have peace. They're going to be terrified of what's coming. And so what does it profit a man if he gains the whole world and yet loses his soul? It profits you nothing. You get a big zero, and you get banished to outer darkness and whatever else comes after that. Eternal lostness, lake of fire, the second death. But if you do know the Lord, then what happens? You gain everything. You lose. Like I said, that one quote from that guy that got martyred in South America by the Indians, Jim Elliot. He said, "He is no fool who gives what he cannot keep to gain what he cannot lose." You're going to gain heaven, and that'll be an eternal treasure. But you have to lose your life in this world. Jesus said, if you lose your life for my name's sake, you will find it. But if you find your life in this world, then you will lose your life for eternity. Your eternal life will vanish, and you'll be subject to the second death. The Bible calls it the second death. But if you trust the Lord and you have him in your heart, then you will go from, you only have one death, but it really is from death. It says death is swallowed up in life. And you're going to go from one plane to an eternal resurrected life, right? This is what the Bible calls the resurrection unto life. And God sets eternity in our hearts, and he's the only one that can fulfill it. You know, if you don't have the Lord, you don't have eternity, because that's where eternal life comes from, right? And everyone has a seed that receives him of eternal life, and that grows. And you have to nurture it. You have to cultivate it. And you have every responsibility to make sure that you run the race to win, not to fall out, not to give it up, not to sell your birthright. You don't want to sell out the Lord. You want to live faithfully and trust him all the way to the very end, right? And cross the finish. Because there are going to be people that are going to fall out. They're going to be unfaithful, and they're going to look back. You know, they're going to put their hand to the plow, and they're going to look back. Just like Lot's wife. And they're going to be frozen, and they're not going to enter in. Jesus said, no, you're not worthy. Anyone who puts a hand to the plow and looks back is not worthy of me. So don't look back, look to him. Amen? Amen. God bless you guys. I love you all in Jesus' name, and we'll be back tomorrow. I haven't been around for 2 days, so I'm going to try to get back on the Faith Channel and give some more messages and do our devotion.